I bet I drill a clean hole in somebody today.
Everyone knows that AI is the future. It made a splash back in like 2020, then it started to really pick up pace, pick up steam in 2023, and now 2024, it's everywhere. And of course, Tekken wants, it's like any other company. It's trying to figure out how to utilize this tool into their existing property and make it work. And I think what Tekken is doing is interesting because, as good as Tekken the franchise is, I think it does have a lot of issues and problems. I know players, and this is kind of a side note, I know players said that making the game easier is a bad thing, but I would disagree because I think that Tekken is a very old game. The simple example that I give is that fighting games was designed to be played on an arcade stick in arcades. Meanwhile, majority of the players play on a PlayStation or Xbox controller. So in my mind, the logical course would be to rechange some of those commands to better suit a PS5 controller. Now, does that mean making the game easier, or does it mean making it more functional, more easier to use? That's how I look at it, but I do also understand that's not how it always comes across. When the developers say makes something easier, they literally mean make it easier. So that's just how, I don't know, that's a whole different can of worms. There's more I can say about it, but I want to focus on this AI related subject. There's 11 screenshots here, and I just want to go step by step and just break it all down. So the first one says, I'm sure that after Tekken 8 comes out, we'll see some AI related updates. The Ghost, which is kind of like an AI function already, is pretty underwhelming. It was sold to us to be this great thing that you can really use to learn the game, and tournament players can learn other tournament players' play styles using it, and that's not at all the case. It really just seems like for someone who's new to the game, it's a very powerful tool to learn a character, matchup or patterns or Oki without the pressure of playing against a real opponent. That can be very stressful. Playing against an AI, you're still facing a lot of real player moves, but it's not in that environment. So I think it's a very good tool, but the way it was sold to us was completely different to what it is. So that's the first thing that's AI related that's already in Tekken 8. Now, what else could Harada add? The next one says, we have a bunch of exciting ideas, and I'm interested to see how far we can go with AI. And I anticipate we'll see AI ghosts being used in different ways throughout its lifetime. One thing that they said in the first Tekken talk, which a lot of people thought was very funny, they said that they want to introduce ghosts versus ghosts. And I don't know why they would do that. Like, I know playing against a ghost, you would be able to get experience, but what do you have to gain from simply watching two ghosts play? Would it be like watching a tournament match, or would it be like, I don't know. But that's something else they were talking about. The next one says, now this is controversial, right? I want to see how you guys react to this in the comment section. When a skilled player goes up in online rankings, the pool of players they can get matched with gets smaller, like a pyramid, which is true. The higher up in rank, the longer the wait times. The higher you climb, the fewer opponents there are, right? Factor in different time zones, which also is a big thing as well. Harada said in the past, I think was also in this interview, but I covered it in another video. He said that EU makes up 51%, America makes up like 38% or something like that. So when those two time zones are sleeping, no one's online. And I do understand they're kind of like on opposite sides of the world, but they're still kind of close together. And add to my point, he says, and Japanese players might not have anyone to play with when American players are sleeping. In such occasions, we can have an AI ghost of a top American player jump in for a match online. First off, if this was introduced, he would need to make the AI ghost severely more challenging, like a real, I don't want to say Shin Akuma levels of difficulty. Maybe, see, they could get really wacky with it and make it like a Shin Akuma, make it like a boss kind of thing where okay, you have no one to play against this very broken AI, and if you can beat it, you get a lot of points. If you don't really lose anything. And then after, move on to find a real opponent. They can go that way, or the way that he's kind of talking about is like making it like a real match, a real opponent, and I don't know how pro players would feel about that. Let's use Anakin for example. Let's say Nee can't find an opponent, and then they match him up against Anakin's ghost. will a pro player want to play that? Or will they feel like it's a waste of time? That's the one thing you have to factor. But then two, you then have to ask the question of, is beating a ghost the same as beating a real player? In Tekken 8, you can report someone for hunting low-ranked players. You're doing whatever you can to try to find low-ranked players so you can get easy W's and promote that way. What if players start to seek out these bots and try to also promote that way, if they are in fact weaker than real players? I do like the ideas that he's playing around with, and I am not trying to critique it, but I'm just throwing out all of these ideas and possibilities that they themselves will have to, tackle. If they really want to put this in the game, these questions that I'm asking is what they will have to ask themselves. The next one says, and you'd never know if it's a human player or not. This is where I think the problem comes in, because if they're trying to hide the fact that it's a ghost, let's use Neve versus Anakin once again. Of course, Neve would never pop on Twitter and roast Anakin, but let's say for some reason he did, and then Anakin like, that's not me, that's my ghost. Then you have this weird thing where the ghost is now representing the player. People already don't like that their replays is being taken advantage of, but now you would have like a replay of yourself fighting in real time when you're not playing the game, and I could just see how that can quickly turn into this madness. I think it's better to show that this is a ghost, like up front say ghost, but then also make that ghost a worthy opponent. Continuing, Harada says, that's the sort of era I think we're heading for. I don't want to be negative. I seen you guys' comments saying don't be so negative, Moonsault, but you guys tell me, is this something that you yourself would be interested in? One example that I would give that does this for a different reason, but also it had a huge impact, is Fortnite. We all know back in like 2018-19, Fortnite was at the top of the top. It was the biggest game on the planet. But once that game started to slow down and the player base started to die off, you had a few things happen. One, you had tryhards still playing the game, and then you had the kids still playing the game. And when you put kids and tryhards together, you know how that turns out. So the developers came up with this idea of, let's throw a bunch of bots into the equation. You can fill in the tryhards with a bunch of bots so they can still get 50 kills a game, but then also the little kids can go up against those bots and they can also have a better experience as well. Now, if they were to do something like that in Tekken, they're kind of trying to walk the line of, we want to be a competitive game with tournaments and ranking systems and Tekken World Tour, but then we also want to support all of the new players with Ghost and this and that. And it's interesting to see which of the two sides will win. They can please both, but the way that they're trying to do it in one ranked game mode won't work. You can have ranked be hardcore, try hard, but then also a bunch of AI bots running around, and it won't work. This is what my real solution would be. All of the pro players have been demon gods since the game came out. I think they should add a new type of like competitive something, and that competitive mode can be the most try hard thing ever, but then ranked match can be like the pretend try hard. Maybe that's not the best solution, but then walking back and forth between the two, it won't last long. And in this video, I just wanted to talk about this. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and bye bye.